Well, good morning, everybody. My name's Conor McGilligan. This is One Leeds. What's going on in your world? Let me know in the comments section below. Thank you for all the interaction, engagement on the previous videos this week. It's been really positive. The international break has all, for me, been about trying to find solution and positivity in and around Leeds United. How can we get better? How can we remain in the promised land? That is the Premier League. We've got an opposition preview coming in your ears, Chorley FM. Peter K reference there for all of you in the know.
The price you can afford.
I'll break your legs.
But we've got that coming up tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Very excited to get back together with an old friend, and it was a brilliant opposition preview, so make sure you're checking that out tomorrow. We will also have your press conference reaction tomorrow as well, the three things that you guys do thoroughly enjoy. Now, today, a specific video which will get the DDD absolutely pinging. Now, what is DDD on the One Leeds channel? Well, everybody, it is discourse, debate, and discussion. It's a respectful chat between everybody in my community, whether or not you agree or disagree. Get your thoughts in the comment section below. And we have a big topic today, people. Marcelo Bielsa. Now, context behind this conversation today. And as I say, let us know your thoughts in the section below. Marcelo Bielsa was courted by the San Francisco 49ers before Daniel Farke was brought in. Now, at that point in time, we are all very aware that Bielsa was in charge of Uruguay. Now, he's done, I think, pretty well, beating top sides in South America as well. I believe they've got something over Brazil and Chile and beating Peru as well. It's been a really good period under Marcelo Bielsa, and obviously he's kept his job. He's been going for a while now, Bielsa, and he's kind of coming to that point, which is so ironic, where he gets to that stage and Bielsa is either relieved of his duties or he leaves, as we've seen previously, even with Leeds United. So the conversation is now, well, Conor, why is this relevant? What's going on? Well, Uruguay have just been absolutely battered by the United States. And Bielsa has come out and said a few things, which is quite interesting, but it's an absolute humiliation for the Uruguayan national side. The US men's national team in this game filled non-first choice players as well. Bielsa himself took the responsibility for the game, which, you know, would be nice, wouldn't it, for managers to take responsibility and accountability. He stated that the performance gap wasn't about the players being at fault, but it's about his management of the game, the players and the resources. But the criticism after this game for Bielsa has been particularly sharp because obviously Uruguay, historically in general, a very good national side for the population that they have. Expectations are always very high in Uruguay from what you're led to believe. So reports are suggesting right now that Marcelo Bielsa's job is on thin ice after this result. Apparently, there's questions about a breakdown in his relationship with senior players and the overall direction of the game. Adding to that as well, there's been Uruguayan fans abusing Marcelo Bielsa, which I know hurts me and every single Leeds United fan, of course it does. So reports are suggesting as well that Marcelo Bielsa's job is on thin ice right now. The media are hounding him at this moment in time because obviously the expectation is high. And apparently there's been a breakdown between the players and Bielsa, which we have heard before. Bielsa was able to recover with that, but around about 12 months ago, I did a video on potentially the reunion of Leeds and Marcelo Bielsa because obviously there'd been that breakdown. I think it might have been in the summer actually that I did that video. But the magnitude of the defeat to a patched up US side obviously makes it harder for the coach to justify staying in the position without significant changes. So it's interesting to see here when it comes to Marcelo. And obviously, given the fact that Marcelo Bielsa has come out and said that the fault lies with his management of the team, which is obviously going to be a natural weakness because then you're vulnerable, right? It's not the players. It's not, you know, them putting in endeavor, energy, you know, being able to put the ball in the back of the net. He's put the blame completely on him, which naturally will raise questions, obviously, whether or not the federation and the stakeholders believe that the project of Uruguay is salvageable for Marcelo Bielsa. Bielsa's comments after the game, he said, what is affected after a performance like today is my management of the game, the players and the resources available to the Uruguayan national team. He actually went on quite strong as well and said, in no way should the best Uruguayan players lose a match like this against a second string United States. So it feels like Bielsa's in must-win territory and very similar. And this is probably quite a nice transition to Daniel Farke. Now, the reason I wanted to mention this with Bielsa is because, look, there's a massive link with the San Francisco 49ers. We are all aware that the 49ers went for Bielsa. We all know that happened before Daniel Farke. We spoke about the word salvageable earlier on when it came to Bielsa and the Uruguayan Federation. Right now, that is a key word to use when it comes to Leeds United in the Premier League. if Daniel Farke was relieved of his duties this weekend, which I think there's a big possibility in terms of maybe if the onus behind the scenes is to panic a little bit, which I feel like it probably will get to that stage, especially if Villa beat as well. And because you're kind of nearing that international break, they might think to themselves, right, well, we've given the international break, but now we will make the change. Right now we'll make that change, even though in my opinion, they should have done it in the international break. Is there a possibility Bielsa exchanges and comes to Leeds United? Now, a lot of people will say it's unrealistic, and it probably is unrealistic. I mean, the notion around Bielsa not coming back to Leeds at that point was because he'd committed his future to Uruguay, but that was apparently the media rhetoric around it. It was because he committed his future to Uruguay. There was no insinuation, and I've been looking at reports this morning, there was no insinuation that Bielsa wouldn't come back to Leeds because of previous ownership, of not wanting to come back. So could that be a possibility? Could we be looking at a situation where Parag, who him and co have approached Bielsa before, apparently, according to reports, before Daniel Farke, could there be a situation where that happens again if Daniel Farke is relieved of his duties? Does that mean that Leeds press the action a little bit more? Maybe approach Bielsa right now when he's in the job at Uruguay and say, look, we're going to make a change. This is the preparation Leeds should have been doing anyway. But that also utilizes that keyword salvageable when it comes to a PR perspective, because Leeds fans, as we all know, adore Marcelo Bielsa like he's God. So if Bielsa was to be the guy who came in and Farke was to be the fall guy for Bielsa, that would make the damage control a hell of a lot better. But not only that, on the pitch, would you see a Marcelo Bielsa side evoke more of what we have right now in terms of the personnel? Would he be able to get more out of individuals? Now, my perspective at the end of the video would be I wouldn't go for Marcelo Bielsa. I believe that period of time was crystallized. We had a 3-year period under Marcelo Bielsa. Could there be an exchange when it comes to Farke leaving the club, which I think is inevitable at this point? It's not if, it's when. I think that will happen probably in the next 4 games. And then Marcelo Bielsa is probably going to be relieved of his duties at Uruguay, if you're to believe the national press. Is there going to be a portion of which Bielsa comes to Leeds United, or Leeds at least approach Marcelo Bielsa? Could that be in the offering right now, with the 49ers doing it before and just almost this working at perfect synergy when it comes to timing, which we know in football is absolutely key? As I say, let us know in the comment section below what you guys think. Would you take Marcelo Bielsa back at Leeds United? Would that be something that you would look at? I mean, he wouldn't have had a pre-season with this Leeds United side whatsoever. This is why I think it was so imperative that you made that change in November, so at least you can get playing styles, you can get videos, you can get all of these sorts of things, you can get an ethos, a philosophy, which we know Bielsa would want at Leeds United. You can embed that within the international break. You don't necessarily have to have those 13 players in and around the squad. You can start the blueprint at that point. Now, would it give Elland Road a lift? Oh my goodness, yeah, it would. We all know that. We all know that. And I guess Leeds fans would be even okay with us going down to the Championship with Marcelo Bielsa, worst case scenario. But I wouldn't do that. And the reason I, at that moment in time, wanted Marcelo Bielsa to leave Leeds United and Leeds to relieve the fantastic Argentinian of his duties was not because I didn't love the man and adore the man, but it was because I didn't feel the Leeds players were able to give more in a Bielsa system anymore. I felt they were done, they were knackered, they needed something else, whether or not it be different strategical change, a tactical blueprint, which doesn't just involve running, energy, endeavour, pressing. It felt like the players were beat up, they were beat down, and physically they looked meek and mild. And it felt that we were on that same blueprint as you get with Bielsa teams, where after that 3rd year, you're sort of done. So I don't think I would. At that time, I was very much like, I'd like a person, whether or not at that moment I was mentioning this, what people always forget with One Leeds, it was thank you so much, Marcelo, for your service for the football club. But I'd have gone with a Guiardo, I'd have gone with an Iriola at that point. Emery, I believe, was free. And they were the ones who kind of had the Bielsa principles, Iriola in particular at Rayo Vallecano at that point, and a student of Marcelo Bielsa. So you've got the hallmarks of Marcelo, but just defensively a little bit more astute than what Marcelo Bielsa is. I don't think it's realistic. If Leeds got Marcelo Bielsa in, I'd be really worried because I feel like it might tarnish his previous legacy. I wouldn't want that. However, it is sort of, you know, if you to offer me right now, who would I have, Bielsa or Farke? It would obviously be Bielsa, in my opinion. However, I think Leeds have got to look at someone with set principles who is similar to Bielsa, but also have that modern astuteness with the greatest of respect that also encompasses some framework, really, in terms of low block and mid block principles, which I think Leeds are going to need in the Premier League. And is this squad really built for a Marcelo Bielsa system? I guess you would say no, but then he came in, didn't he? When he came in what, 2017, 2018, whatever it was, and the squad wasn't built for him then at all. But he was able to change and churn, and Leeds are now with a modern football club of which there's a lot more money behind than when Bielsa came in. Would he come in and would he just seamlessly adapt again? Would he try it? I mean, he was so visibly upset, wasn't he, when he left Leeds United? But what do you guys think? Would you take him, and do you think the 49ers would approach him again? Bearing in mind they did approach him before Daniel Farke, and this could be the perfect synergy when it comes to worlds colliding. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, everybody. Who will be your alternative manager choices? We do have an opposition preview coming out tomorrow as well, which is going to be really exciting, with an old friend, and it's a bumper one as well, with a lot of really good information in there, so don't miss that. It's been an absolute pleasure. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'll see you in a bit.